1, 2. Verse 2, 3, 4. Chorus. Drums in. Verse 2.
What's up, worship drummers? Carston here from Sun Valley Worship. Today is the day we are talking about Who Else from Gateway Worship. Oh man, this song is just chef's kiss. There's a couple of key things that I want to super emphasize to you. One of them is dynamics. I said this in the Son of Suffering video, and I will say it again. Dynamics make this song what it is. Now, with this song versus Son of Suffering, there is a lot more of a kind of ramp up into a big dynamic feel. So there is a little bit more movement there from right out of the gate, where we're starting a little bit stronger and we're ending even bigger than Son of Suffering is ending. So with that in mind, let's talk about parts, where they fit into that, and how to dynamically approach those as well. First things first, we come in on a chorus with kind of a tom feel, a duh. You want to be present there with that. You want to be confident and strong in that, but you don't want to overpower the mix. I recommend staying on the toms with that. You can add a kick if you want in your cymbal swells that like go along with the chord changes there. But other than that, keep it pretty light for that first chorus. And then when we get into the verse, it is super crucial that your ghost notes are very even and that your groove is super tight. If this verse falls apart percussively, the rest of it feels really jumbled as well. So it's really important that we as drummers really lock in on the verse groove and keep those ghost notes on the snare really even. With that verse also, there's a couple of options you can do. The way that I played it was doing the and with the floor tom on the second like measure of every other measure, if that kind of makes sense. But the record plays it the E and of 2. So I played it the and of 2, but you could also play it the E and of 2. Whatever makes more sense for you, whatever is more comfortable. I can do it both ways, but for this, I just chose to do it the and felt a little better in the moment. And then on to the second chorus feel, where we're a little bit more open coming out of that verse. We're getting back into the same kind of tom feel, but we're adding a little bit of another level, not too much more dynamic, but a little bit of another level of dynamic, where we're hitting the toms a little bit harder. We have that kind of thing going on the snare every couple of times. And then on that second pass of the chorus as well, it's like a chorus 2 or chorus B for that chorus section. It adds 4 on the floor on the kick, and then we're doing kind of a flammed snare every other one, and then the every other one. It just is kind of like stacking the layers a little bit, but it's doing so in a really intentional way. And it's important that you don't miss out on the intentionality for that section, because if you start adding too much too soon, then the parts where there's a lot more going on feel even more busy or unintentionally chaotic, and we don't want to get into that kind of space. So add your layers very intentionally, be very consistent with how you place them. Don't just add stuff in random places, because then it gets chaotic for the band to try to follow that. From out of that, we get into the interludes, which is that 16th note kind of thing on the ride, and on that second pass of the interlude, we add in the ghost notes on the snare. Those will be 16th notes in groups of 2, displaced every other 16th note. So 1 E, 2 E, da 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 da. It's really important that those are even together when you're playing with both hands. So I'd recommend working on some double stroke exercises at home so that you can really hone in the low dynamic accuracy while also keeping both your hands perfectly together with that. That kind of evolves into a kick to ga, a do ga kind of thing. So it's even more important at that point that that stays really locked in and really even, because then we're gonna kind of hit the gas as soon as we're done with that section and go into that tom grooves, like do ga, and then that itself has its own evolution. So you want to make sure that, again, like the chorus with the 2 parts, you add your layers intentionally and you do it precisely and you do it consistently, so that way it feels really good every single section, every single pass, feels locked in, feels really tight, and then your band and your music director are really happy with you. Now, my favorite part, the cymbal bridge. With this section, it's actually really important that we start to peel away some of the layers that we've been adding all the way up until this point in the song, because the cymbals, when you're crashing on them like that, take up a ton of sonic frequency, and we want to take away some of the low end and take away some of the busyness. So that way, with the guitars and with the keys and with the bass, they can kind of dominate that space, and the cymbals are just icing on the cake. Now, that's not to say that the kick is out entirely. Like you saw in the video, I kind of hit that pattern, da-da, da-da-da, da-da, and then so on and so forth. With that, I highly encourage you to not add more than that. What we decided as a band with that is that is the appropriate level of busy for the cymbal bridge. If you want to break it down from that, always feel free to break it down, but that's typically the maximum busyness that section should be. So if you play it just like that, you'll be perfectly fine. If you play it less than that, you'll be perfectly fine. Maybe even better. It depends on your room. So just listen to your music director, listen to your worship leader, find out what they want for that section. And lastly, we've got the big bridges or the big refrains or big chorus, whatever it is, where we're all in on the groove, and it has a two-stage evolution as well. The first bit is kind of a more solidified, similar voicing to the bridge tom build, but with a kick, snare, and cymbal groove. And the second bit is more of like a all in, straight to the moon. You're driving it really, really home, and then do a false build out, and then we're totally out for the rest of the song. With that, it is super important, again, to not add too much. What I did there was probably about the maximum that you could do and still have a really good band feel. Again, feel free to peel back layers there, but make sure that it is a bigger step up from the chorus groove, from the bridge groove, from the refrains, etc., etc. Just make sure that it is a step above, but you don't overflow the cup, because then you start to derail the whole thing, and we don't want that. So with that, good luck, guys. Hope this helps. Have a great weekend.